welcome everybody. Today is the greatest day of the year. We got SPX 7000, we have the FOMC, we got big earnings coming. So I'm going to just jump right into it with the boys here. So I don't know if we have to just get this over with. Does anybody have any idea of what's going on with the Fed? Like, is there any read on anything? And anybody feel free to jump in because it feels like a big fat mystery.
I thought it wasn't a mystery at all. I thought it was a pause today for sure.
Yes, but I mean, like, in terms of what the market could do after, or what kind of, like, what Powell might say. Anybody have any idea? And you people in
Derrick,
the comments, you could help us too.
Yeah, sure. So this should be like a very boring Fed meeting, all things considered. There's going to be no rate cut. I don't think anything's going to happen that's not really expected. The only wild card is the press conference, and that is entirely just related to this Trump-Powell stuff that's been going on recently because, you know, Jerome Powell has been head of the Federal Reserve for, I don't know, how long has it been? Like, we're going to be working towards 10 years, right? 10 years, something like that. And I've never seen him say anything political ever. He's been nothing but the absolute professional until his hand was finally forced by Trump very recently. And he made a statement that was without a doubt political. And I'm sure that in the Q&A today that there's going to be people asking questions about it. So I think that that's kind of the only real wild card. And unfortunately, it's not so much related to the Fed doing their job as it is related to the federal government undermining the independence of the Federal Reserve. So we'll see what happens.
All right, I guess we're done with the Fed. No.
Well, I'll add one more thing. Not that it's his purview, but if Powell gets the dollar yen question or Bank of Japan question that everybody wants to ask him, he could really spook the market. So beyond that, I think he's probably going to stick to his script. It's going to be indiscernible. It's not even going to sound like English. It's going to be the same as usual.
All right. Okay, let's talk about the funnest part of the market right now, which is the metals. And Derrick and I were talking offline before. I've never seen anything like silver before. Like, it seems absolutely insane between that and gold and copper and uranium. Like, how much of this is just good old-fashioned momentum, or is there anything behind this? And JR, I'll start with you because you and I have talked about gold and silver about 800,000 times.
For the last 2 years, we've been talking about this move.
I know. JR, do you remember that time when you were bullish on silver and gold really, really early?
You were like, what?
You have
an infomercial on Fox at 3 a.m? What's wrong with you?
I tried to get JR fired because he was so bullish on gold and silver. I said, we got to get rid of this guy.
Yeah, one of many times, bro.
Yeah, but JR, in all seriousness, like, what do you make of this move in the metals?
What do I make of it? The shorts have lost control. The banks have lost control. China sealed its silver and making it unavailable to the world, and it just seems like you have a perfect storm for a major supply-demand imbalance. And, you know, relative to gold, silver was trading many standard deviations lower based on relative price, and I think it's just caught up with the market. And now we're paying the piper. I have now become, by the way, a metals merchant. I'm no longer a trader. I am a metals merchant. Just so you know, I'm changing my business card.
We're gonna wait. Monica's in the chat here. Monica, we're changing the name of the room to Metals Express.
Metals Express, thank you.
Everybody, stay tuned for the email announcement at 1 p.m. today. Metals Express is coming. Okay, Sami. So, like, from a pure technical perspective, is there anything we could look for with gold or silver?
Yes, this is a parabolic move. At some point, you're gonna get a crash. We got it a couple of days ago on the silver, but it didn't produce any follow through to the downside. So, but at some point, it's gonna crash. This is a parabolic move. It's not sustainable. Look at the monthly chart of silver. Look at the weekly. It's not sustainable. So at some point we're going to crash. Now it became probably speculative, and I don't know if like the market knows something we don't about gold and silver. Why it's so hot all of a sudden, right? I don't know, but at some point, you can't you can't expect this to keep going. At some point, it's going to crash.
Okay, and yes, it was JR's birthday yesterday. So everybody in the audience, say happy birthday to JR. He is our king.
172 today.
Wow, JR, happy belated
I look
birthday.
amazing, dude.
And you don't look
It's
a
all
day
the ginseng.
You don't look a day over 160. So Derrick, since I know you deal with like so many professional traders, are the pros all caught up in this metal stuff?
Yeah, I mean, everybody that I know who's worth their salt as a trader now recently are really trying to look for the parabolic pullback on this thing when the signal comes in. First of all, happy birthday, JR. You're the man. Another year younger for you. Secondly, on the metals, there is like a structural thing happening that is enabling this metal situation to happen. And it's a combination of factors that's hitting all at once. It's an international phenomenon that's related to all these geopolitical fears. It's also related to, I know we were just talking about the Fed, but I just read a research report this morning from UBS that is basically saying that all of our traditional models on what moves gold have been out the window over the course of the last year plus. And
that's
now
what Ray Dalio said last week too.
It's not moving on that. It's moving higher every time we get more geopolitical concerns. Guess what? We had an Iran headline out of Trump this morning. It's moving higher every single time Trump undermines the Federal Reserve. And it's moving higher with some fear of a reflation trade. And it's also moving higher, very obviously, with the destruction of the US dollar. The US dollar at one point last year was on path to have like one of the worst years that it's ever had in history. It ended up recovering a little bit into the end of the year. But then this dollar move that we just had over the course of the last 4 days is scary. And, this is just very simple math, right? And I'm not saying this is going to happen, but just to drive the point home, if the dollar gets cut in half, then dollar denominated assets are worth double. That's just how that works. So, when Trump talks about the US stock market's going to double in 2026, we know he tends to exaggerate, for one, but two, well, sure. If the dollar gets cut in half, then yeah, the stock market's going to be worth double as well, and commodities move on that. So we saw silver go completely parabolic 2 trading sessions ago. By my metric of extension, the way that I measure extension in the market, the SLV ETF was more extended than it's ever been to the upside in history ×2. And then we finally had that little bit of a blow off top. And then yesterday I was expecting to actually get some further follow through because you had the big upside tail, you had the really big volume confirmation, you had the relatively weak close, and we didn't get it. But I think that part of the reason why we didn't get it was just because the dollar was just cratering yesterday, and that has a big impact on it. So there's 2 things that's ongoing here at once. There's a structural bull movement happening because of everything that I just discussed, and that doesn't look like it's going anywhere. But at the same time, especially with silver and now to some degree gold, there are momentum players in place, and you don't want to be the last person to buy the upside parabolic move. And that's why a lot of good traders, like Sami was just saying, see that parabolic move. They know it's unsustainable to a point. We also know that a market can remain irrational for longer than you can remain solvent if you're just blindly shorting it. So we're sitting around and we're looking for the juicy trigger, because if we can get that juicy trigger on the way down, we can get that set up. I think that for a short-term trade, it could be a phenomenal risk reward. You could have the SLV, which is trading at about 104 right now, pull back to $87 and still have the bigger picture structural bull argument play out, but get paid on the short.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'll just say this as a warning to the shorts. I think there's a fundamental repricing of metals, which sometimes leads to a lot of bear traps that look great, short term, and they look parabolic, but it's almost like like a merger or a buyout where you're just trading higher because of a fundamental repricing in the market. And as my mentor used to say, the market can remain stupid a lot longer than you can remain stupid, stupid. So be careful, guys. I'm telling you, my forecast for gold takes us to 150 and beyond. What happens when the Japan 30-year bond yield approximates the U.S. long end of the curve? Silver could go to 250. Just be careful.
Okay.
Just a thought.
All right. Okay. Very bold, JR. Okay, let's talk about earnings. So, I mean, I know it's Derrick's favorite company. I don't know about everybody else, but we have Tesla coming after the close today. And it's going to be trash because it always is. That doesn't tend to matter with Tesla all that much. I mean, a lot of it comes down to, Elon coming out with some kind of stick save at the last minute. So, Sami, is there any setup on Tesla into earnings?
I am quiet a little bit because I've been going over the earnings list, scanning the earnings list. Doesn't really have a setup. Doesn't look good short. It looks slightly better long, I think, because the weekly chart has a buy setup, but the daily looks awful. So Tesla is not an earnings play for me at all. So I don't have a clue which way Tesla is gonna go.
I miss the good old days when Sami would tell me like Tesla's going to 300 or 400.
I know.
Right.
It's been a while. I did short Netflix, on earnings, and that worked. But Tesla, because Netflix looked pretty good, but Tesla doesn't. I mean, it's just I don't have a clue. Any bet I make, it would just be a gamble, a total gamble, basically.
Sorry, did I interrupt you, or were you done, Sami?
No, you're good.
I think this is going to be one of those earnings calls. We already have the deliveries. They came in at like 423,000, I think, it didn't really spook the market. I think this is going to be one of those earnings reports where the market really waits for the call, because they're really waiting for a lot of major updates that really move the stock. So like the robotaxi cybercab stuff, the unsupervised FSD, the production timeline for the next gen Optimus robot, all this crazy stuff, and their AI5 inference chip. Like, these are the things that I think are going to move Tesla one direction or the other. I don't think there's going to be a lot of surprises in terms of the actual financial reporting.
And everybody listening, let us know in the chat. What do you think of Tesla going into this night's pivotal report? So, Derrick, how about you? Big thumbs down on this one? I own the stock. I still have my 5 shares. I don't know why. I think it's going to be a mess. But, I mean, Derrick, what do you think?
I mean, you could have Tesla come out and say that they sold 0 cars and the stock could potentially go up on it. You just never really know with this thing. I mean, I'm going to hold some short into the report because I've been short and the short's been paying me and I'm doing well with it. So I will definitely hold some, but I don't know. I expect the earnings report to not be great, but I don't know if that matters. And then in the call, he's going to say a bunch of magical stuff with a bunch of made up dates for when that magic is going to happen that he never, ever, ever, ever follows through on the dates when he says things are going to happen. I mean, I don't know if he has ever said a timeline date for any new product that he's been able to meet, especially when it's a new announcement. So he'll come out and he'll say that, but people will potentially just buy that up anyway. So your guess is as good as mine. I would describe the chart right now as like neutral bearish, which, is not something to give you a lot of conviction into the report. But like I said, I've been short into it. The fundamentals don't make any sense for whatever that's worth. And, I'll keep the position.
JR, the kitty looks pretty good. Your cat, the caterpillar, looks good on earnings. That's your play, isn't it?
I think Derrick's point was that Tesla longs can stay stupid a lot longer than we can stay stupid.
I feel like that was directed at me.
I think Derrick has got some jealousy issues when it comes to Elon for some reason. I don't know what it might be.
He must be a better kickboxer than me.
Oh, right. Can you believe it? He like, oh, I'm driving to Musk's, no, it was Zuckerberg's house right now. And then when Zuckerberg said, send me location, he totally disappeared.
Zuckerberg, who I'm also not a big fan of, would absolutely kick Elon's ass. It would
I'm
be
sure.
ridiculous.
Oh, man. All right, let's talk about another one of the big boys, NVIDIA. So we just got a whole crap load of positive AI news. We're hearing about the H200 sales possibly coming in China, ASML, Hynix, Seagate, all giving very positive indicators for AI. Could NVIDIA finally come back? Because it's, I mean, the way the AI trade has been going, I feel like nobody even talks about NVIDIA anymore. It's the memory, the storage, the power names.
Yeah,
Like,
I really think so, Mike. If you look at the chart of NVIDIA, it broke down and then it completely 100% recovered. And if you look at the weekly, the daily, the monthly, it's just really bullish. So NVIDIA looks good to me. I like it. I like it a lot. Now, am I going to buy it here? No, there's a lot better stuff out there than NVIDIA. Look at Zoom, for example, ZM. That's a much better asymmetrical trade in terms of when it comes to reward to risk. But yeah, NVIDIA, I think, looks okay. I think it really looks good.
I don't know why. It just sounds funny to hear like Zoom is better than NVIDIA. But we
I
are
know, as a trade, not as a, not as a company. Always think of it as a chart trade, as a stock trade. Which one is better? In my opinion, Zoom.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I think I have an issue with Zoom because like every time I have to go to a Zoom meeting, I want to slap myself because it's just the most horrible software. Anyway, let's move on from that. Oh, so JR, you've been uber bullish on AI, since Moses wore short pants. Like, is it NVIDIA time?
I announced to my room yesterday that I bought Nvidia long for a break of all-time highs into the 258 handle. I bought it yesterday.
258?
That's what the measured move says.
No, that's what JR says. Derrick, how about you? What do you think of this beautiful NVIDIA?
I am also long NVIDIA. My target is not as aggressive as JR's. I'm really, positioned for a move back to its all-time high around 210. NVIDIA has been an interesting one because I agree with what Sami just said. I think that the big picture timeframes on this thing look really bullish, but it's been so frustrating how it's been underperforming the semiconductor ETFs and how this thing has just not been able to break out. This thing had news that was positive like 3 trading sessions ago related to the H200s. It could not break out. It had news again related to the H200s this morning that China is going to be buying them. It still can't break out. I've been looking at this zone between 190 and 192 as the breakout zone. So that's what I'm referencing here. And once again today, you had like 5-6 tests of that 192, and they just could not break this thing out. So I see what Sami says. I see what JR says. I am long NVIDIA, but this thing just needs to get going. And it's going to be an interesting one because it's like I'm kind of looking for the semiconductors as a whole to start a pullback soon, because we're getting through these earnings reports, and look, we know that the earnings from Micron and we just had Seagate. I don't know if Seagate's necessarily in like the SMH, and the Korean company that you just referenced are all phenomenal, and these companies are all saying we are booked out, like we are booked out for years, but at some point this has got to be priced in. So I kind of like the idea of like a semiconductor ETF short while being long NVIDIA, because I think that the one thing that could really, really cause these semiconductor ETFs to just rip and continue would be if NVIDIA starts to break. I think everything else is starting to get priced in at this point, but if NVIDIA starts to break up, I mean, it's the biggest weight in the SMH, it's the biggest weight in the SOXX, it's the biggest weight in the indexes. And if this thing ever can break through that 192, watch out above.
Yeah, can we go over some of the charts? I think NVIDIA, the issue with it is that just like the market, is not a momentum stock at the moment. It's just been back and forth, doesn't have the momentum. So it's, but if you look at the weekly chart, it's poised for a pullback. I mean, it's on a pullback, and so it should be higher, but it's just not a momentum stock, like a breakout type candidate. But poised for a move higher over the course of the coming weeks and months, just like the Qs and the SPY are, I think.
All right. Okay. Our good friend in the chat, Insurance Casino 570, says, you folks look like gamers, which I will take as a compliment. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Okay. All right. We're mixed on Tesla. We all like Nvidia. I need some ideas, because if I have to sell my 5 shares of Tesla tomorrow, I need to buy something else. So,
can I show my charts, please?
yes, sir.
Thank you. All right. So here's some ideas for you. I just scanned the earnings list just right now. So here's what I like long for tonight. These are companies that are reporting either after the close today or before the open tomorrow. So the time to get in them would be today. Okay. So here's what I like. I like the CLS long on earnings. I like CAT. That looks pretty good. That's JR's. I mean, JR, you called it long at like 200, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm serious. It's at $650. Looks good long. The LMT is a bit extended, but also really, really bullish. The Dove, I guess it's not as, let me look at it on multiple time frames over here. Yeah, I mean, it's got a nice uptrend. So I like the uptrend on it. These are all pullbacks to the 20, so it should be higher. Take a look at the TTEK. Looks good too. It's very bullish. The only issue is that it's at resistance. And then this one is on a pullback. I don't like how big of a move it already had, but looks okay on a pullback. And then the CRS is, again, no momentum, but right into support, red bar into the 20. It looks good to me. These all look good long, okay? A couple of shorts that I'm watching. Now, I don't actually come up with the final list until the end of the day, but as of right now, that's what I have, what I'm planning to play long. In terms of shorts, here's what I got. I got 4 so far. One of them I just got out of, I was in it long 2 days ago, which was the NOW. Played it long as a climactic and trailed out yesterday, actually, under that green bar's low. Made a little bit of money on it, but I like it short. I don't love it because it's down a lot, so that's the issue with it, but it looks slower. XRX, I don't like the fact that it broke down yesterday. I wish it didn't, but it's a big pop into a lot of resistance into the declining 20 on earnings, so I think that's short. FLS is weak. 20 is not exactly pointing down. That's the 20 right here. But, those are the best shorts. The longs, I think, look a lot better, but those are the best shorts. And then the MAN has got a weekly breakdown. This might be the best or the worst. Here's the weekly. Beautiful. But I always like, when I played earnings short, I always like the 20 to be pointing down. So is it pointing down yet? Almost. So those are the top 4 shorts, and I showed you a bunch, like 6 or 7 or 8 longs that I'm going to be looking to play tonight. Here's Tesla real quick. Off on the daily, it looks lower. It's right into a declining 20. On the weekly, it's doing a pullback to the 20, so it looks higher. So I agree with Derrick that it's short-term bearish basically on Tesla, but I'm not going to play it. Here's Nvidia. We talked about it. Is that Nvidia? But that's a weekly. So here's the daily. That's no momentum. Momentum is when you have, that's momentum. Of course, that's parabolic. But momentum is when you have that nice 45-degree uptrend. Here's momentum, right? A lot of momentum. But again, this is actually too much momentum almost. Nvidia, that's just no momentum. You don't see 2 green bars in a row, do you? I mean, I don't see 2 red bars in a row that have lower lows and lower closes. I mean, here's 2 red bars, but those are overlapping. So when you don't have follow through, that's lack of momentum. It shouldn't be played as a breakout. But look at the weekly chart. Is that a long or a short? I mean, that's a long. I don't love that breakout failure right here. You see it, breakout failure, but it's taken, it's spent the last 2 months or so consolidating. So it's set up long. It just needs the market probably to start to follow through to the upside, which, that's the daily chart of the Qs, daily chart of the SPY, and then the IWM. So, needs the market probably to start following through. But yeah, Nvidia, I think, will do exactly what the market does, which I think the SPY and the Qs, I think higher on those two. Those are, and then here's the zoom. This is why I like it so much. Look at the monthly chart on the zoom. It's taken a while, but I just hope it actually bases for a couple of days here. It might not, but I really hope it bases. And then it would be, that's an amazing monthly. Honestly, that's an amazing. I like the C-Web. The long, I have a call on it in the newsletter. We are also in the yen, but the yen is a little too late now, obviously. So, but the C-Web is the China stocks. The internet stocks for the China, the internet ETF, whatever, the ETF for the internet stocks. Sorry, I got distracted. I'm getting text messages. All right, those are some ideas for you.
Beautiful. Who's ready to step up?
Sorry, I lost the sound.
You want to go first, Derrick?
Yeah, I'll jump in here. Let me do the old screen share. Get that set up. Boom, boom. Should be able to see it now. All right, let's look at a few charts. I always start with the market before I really go into any stocks. And while I think at highs today the market was getting moderately expected, we are bullish across the board. There's no doubt about that. The SPYs are bullish and breaking out. The Qs are bullish and nearly breaking out to all-time highs. And the IWM, which is now showing a little bit of relative weakness, it's like rotation of the rotation after the opening strength in the Russell, I think is overall still healthy. I ideally, from a momentum perspective, don't want to see the IWM lose the space between like 261 and 262.50. But overall, the market technicals are bullish, which always is going to make me cautious in any shorts. With that said, the more market dynamic information that I'm looking at is beginning to turn a little bit more bearish. Positioning is starting to get very, very, very full again. And I think that we could see some seasonal weakness come in February in conjunction with that positioning getting very full. The Bank of America bull bear indicator, which is a contrarian indicator when it's at extremes, has been sitting all the way on the right, all the way on the extreme bull side for a while now. And I've been telling my team from the first day it got there, that thing is not a timing mechanism. It tends to be like very consistent and very successful, but not as a timing mechanism. It's not like you see that go into an extreme and then you immediately go the other side of the market. But there's a lot of things that are pointing out to me right now that are saying, hey, we actually need to start being really careful on new, like medium term or bigger picture longs with this market, especially as we get into February, especially as we probably get into more like mid-February. So I'm watching to see if the technicals at a certain point for the indexes were to break down, which then could actually set things up a little bit more on the short side. Beneath the surface, as far as individual names go, little bit late, but I talked about this one in my morning meeting today. So you had to be there. Palantir short. Palantir, we haven't talked about Palantir in a while, but the Palantir short has been there, and all of a sudden everybody got quiet about this because the momentum stopped, and this thing has not traded the way that it used to in months. New positive news would come out that used to boost the stock 15% higher on insane volume, and then they'll gap it up on that news and sell it immediately back down. So the profile of the stock has changed. The pattern has changed. We're now in a near-term pattern of lower highs and lower lows, and that's within the confines of the NASDAQ, which has been phenomenal. And then you have new continuation through 165 today of this kind of lower high pattern, which has just been a great trade. So I am short Palantir. And then, I'm really just heavily focused on the metal trade at this point. I still have some SLV short versus that high from a couple trading sessions ago. I'm sticking with that as a shorter term short, even as we discussed the structural bullishness of maybe the big picture. But the parabolic nature of this thing, I think, is starting to get a little bit silly. And gold is getting there now too. Gold is really at this point, what are we, day 7 up in a row. Gold is starting to go parabolic as well. It's also hitting a level of extension by the way that I measure extension, which is just as a percentage to the space between the 8 and 21 EMA, almost more extended than I've ever actually seen it go. So I like those. And then in conjunction with that, but again, you need the signal. In conjunction with that, I like the miners short. Like if you look at this GDX, what I like about GDX is that gold is making new highs and GDX is still beneath that high from 2 trading sessions ago. It had a nice save yesterday with this tail down into the 80 EMA on the daily. But I think that if gold begins to lose its parabolic nature, this thing loses that low and gives a deeper pullback to like $100. So I think there's a good risk reward there on, again, you just kind of need the execution set up. So I'm already short a lot of this stuff, but really just looking for the confirmation to come in to like really size up on it. So that's a big focus for me. The miners also, like even some of these materials, if you look at XME, we had called out like a similar parabolic, starting to go parabolic short in XME, which is not something that I typically trade too often. Just a couple trading sessions ago, you had this nasty red bar engulfing candle that came in, a little bit of a bounce back along with some of the metals today. But to me, this looks like it's set up to pull back deeper as well, probably to the low 120s. So even though a large portion of this trade has happened, I think there's still some juice that we could potentially squeeze on this one as well. So that's the big focus for me. And then it's semis. We talked about Nvidia already, which I'm already long. And, like these semi ETFs, I kind of almost like as a pair trade, like Nvidia long versus SOXX or SMH short. Can't type. There you go. But you got to watch the dollar. There's a dollar ETF. Got to watch the dollar in conjunction with all this stuff.
Okay. Thank you, Derrick. JR, you ready to step up? Are you feeling manly enough to step in the ring?
This one time in college, baby. Let's go.
Just one time?
Just one time.
Oh, the drama. Waiting for JR's charts.
Play some Jeopardy music. Do what you got to do.
All right. Wait, we do have music, I think.
I mean, a lot of the things because this show's on Wednesdays. Like a lot of things already trigger, but I'll go over what I got.
That's why you should join Sultans of Swing Trading, folks. Go to t3live.com and Google around. Sorry, JR, go on.
So we took this iron recumulative base here in iron for a base breakout yesterday. This I believe it was going to most likely retest 7687. You get really thin structure past 67. That's where probably hit the gas pedal on iron. So looking at that for an ad eventually. ASTS. These names are ridiculous. I don't know why we're trading space names like Beam Me Up Scotty or whatever, but they're working really, really well. The Momo is real. I'm looking for 146.71 on the 120.93 break in ASTS. This one's been an absolute slayer. PNW, still waiting for confirmation and price acceptance. Our buy zone was 94.80. We're right there. So I'm probably going to get involved in this one for a $20 measured move or so to 114, 120. I like that one. CRDO, it's not moving with the semis, and I think there's a quasi neckline break here around 125.50 for a short, and I expect a large measured move on this one. So, I expect this two-legged corrective move to be the measured move. I'm treating it like a head and shoulders, even though it's kind of not one. So it's 64.90. SMR is taking a sweet time, but once it gets to 21.20, I expect to move to 30. 200 there. PSIX, this one just looks cute. You had a two-wave corrective off this piercing reversal, and now you're sort of basing here into the gap fill. I think once this one fills the head and shoulders neckline gap there, you could see a run to 100. CLSK is on buy watch today, 1393, buy stop to 1624 and 1822. FRMI break of 1089 gets me long FRMI. I know you got a 50-day there, but I think this one's ready for you got an accumulation base here. And I'm looking for a transitional setup to take us through 14 and then maybe $20. So it's looking good. Coke is a short. I should have triggered this one into this one already. I'll probably get short today, and I'm looking for the measured move off the pivot on the base, like so. Right, it takes you right to the 200 right here. So that's what I'm looking to do. It's been a real day traders market, in my opinion. The swings, we're doing really well with our swing portfolio, but it's so much more challenging than to just buy BNAI after hours and watch it run 40 points, or like sometimes it's like in markets like this, it's just a day traders market, But
SLV, if it closes as a doji bar on the daily, then tomorrow short under today's low. If it closes like it is right now, so SLV, check it out. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
and then it might take gold down with it, but gold looks like it
so
still
strong.
is higher.
It's so strong. Look at this thing.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I can't believe JR said to short Coke in this market. I feel like this is a Coke fueled market. Okay. Anyway.
The other Coke, come on.
All right. I think that's time to end the show. Everybody, thank you for joining us. Go out, hug your loved ones, your pets, because it's going to be a crazy, 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 crazy week. All right. Thank you, boys. Everybody have a great day.
Thanks, guys. Take it easy.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys.